A question I've been asked a few times in my life is, how do you feel so comfortable on camera? When I've been on sets specifically, I've had people ask me how I feel comfortable showing emotions and being vulnerable on camera. And now that I've started up YouTube again, I've had like 2 people ask me how I feel comfortable talking to a camera. I mean, on set, I'm playing a character, and then on YouTube, I am in control of the whole process. So I guess that makes it a bit easier, but it's still not easy. I still feel insecure a lot of the time, but over time it has gotten easier, and I've been able to pick up a few tricks along the way that I will be sharing with you today. So whether you want to start a YouTube channel or you want to start streaming on Twitch, hopefully some of these tips can help you. I think that one of the most important things to overcome when you are trying to feel more comfortable in front of a camera is to just get used to yourself. Get used to seeing yourself, get used to being in front of a camera, just get used to it. And I think that there are 3 specific steps that you can take to accomplish this. The first step is going to be to wear something that makes you feel comfortable. This is definitely the easiest thing that you can do that's also gonna help. It's easy to feel overly self-aware on camera, so if my outfit is simple and won't need much adjusting, that's just one less thing for me to worry about. Step 2 is to get used to your face on camera. Get used to what it looks like. The camera can actually distort your face, whether you are on an actual camera or if you're on your phone. And this was something that I genuinely didn't know until recently. And figuring out that my face didn't actually look this weird, it was just a camera, made me feel so much better about myself. Step 3, similar to the last step, get used to what your body looks like on camera. This one is still really difficult for me because body dysmorphia is a bitch. And it's hard to just like put yourself in front of a camera and have it not be a really up close shot and then just like move around. But I recommend doing it, getting used to it. Just dance around for a bit, goof off, and then when you're watching it back, do your best to watch it without judgment. And that kind of goes for everything that you do. Don't think things about yourself that you wouldn't say to your best friend or your significant other or any other loved one. Would you seriously tell your best friend that they're ugly when you're not just joking around? No, hopefully not. And if you do, maybe if you stop being such a judgmental asshole, you wouldn't hate yourself. Now let's chat about some more practical tips. One time I was chatting with a friend and they said that they found themselves on a set. They're not an actor, they were kind of pulled in to be an extra, and they had to walk across the back of one of the shots. And they told me that they were so aware that they felt like they forgot how to walk like a normal person. So if you find yourself needing to walk in front of a camera, pick a point in the distance and just focus on that point. Focus on walking towards that point. Don't focus on how you look. Don't focus on what you look like, how you're walking, none of that. Focus on a place, go to the place. And that goes for everything else you might be having to do in front of a camera. If you are typing, type something. If you're writing, write something. If you're cooking, focus on what you're cooking. Don't focus on what you look like. By focusing on the actual thing that you're doing, you'll be focusing on yourself a little less. And that's a good thing. Not everything has to be about you if you're in front of a camera. Make it about the thing instead. Or if you're just uncomfortable, find a thing to do. That's why I think streaming on Twitch is a great way to feel more comfortable in front of a camera, because you're focusing on playing a video game or doing something else, and you're not just focusing on you. Also, the big question is always what to do with your hands. I don't know why everyone feels so like aware of their hands as soon as they get in front of a camera or as soon as they get on stage. Put them in your pockets. That is by far the easiest thing to do. You won't look too closed off and you won't look like you're posing either. Eventually you will get to the point where you feel like you can use your hands like a normal human being and you won't feel overly aware of them. But until then, whenever you start noticing them too much, throw them in your pockets. The final thing that I want to talk about is talking in front of a camera, especially on something like YouTube. I think when people maybe don't feel super confident in themselves yet, they tend to fall into 2 categories. The first one is overcompensating and feeling like you need to perform or be someone else. And then the second category is people who are just really shy and kind of shell up. I think that I fall more into the second category when I'm like in my head about stuff. Both of those things are honestly fine. And the more you practice, the more you'll find an in-between where you feel comfortable and you'll kind of find how to show your personality on camera and not feel like you need to put up those walls or put on a mask. So it will come. It just comes with practice. And I hate saying that because it's like, oh, you just got to practice and then you'll be fine. But like, kind of is true, but just remember that as you are practicing and as you are getting to that point, you are going to be putting more judgment on yourself than anyone will be putting on you. So don't worry too much. It'll be fine. I believe in you. Okay, so back to a more practical tip. I would recommend not writing a script if you're going to be talking to a camera. Now, if you want to become an actor, I want you to go to Google real quick, type in best acting class near me. Go sign up for that. I do not have the time, nor do I feel qualified to teach you in this video how to break down a script and go off of that. That's a little too much. But if you find yourself in front of a camera where you need to talk, I highly recommend writing yourself some bullet points. I write bullet points for all the videos that I make because I, first of all, don't want to miss anything and have to refilm it. And I also don't want to ramble. And I want to make sure that I say all the things that I want to say. It keeps it structured enough so that I have something to bounce off of, but it doesn't force me to stick to some script and have to say it word for word. If you want to write something word for word, super specific, start a blog instead. Bullet points are 100% the way to do it. Also, putting in the time to write out a full script for something like a YouTube video is just one more thing to worry about, and you don't need to. Now, for some people in certain niches, I'm sure it works. I'm sure it's great. I'm just not gonna sit here and recommend it. And the final thing that I do want to discuss in this video, even though it might be horribly cliche, whatever, but it's true and I feel like I have to mention it if I'm talking about confidence and being comfortable and whatever. The more you are trying to be something that you are not, the more uncomfortable it's gonna be. Now, it might make you feel more comfortable, like putting on a mask, kind of using a different personality. You're not showing maybe as much of yourself, so you don't feel as like naked, but the people watching are gonna be able to see right through it. I promise that if you are just being you, even though if to you it feels boring being yourself, or if you're thinking like, oh, who would want to see me just as myself? That's not interesting. I promise it's far more interesting than you trying to be something that you're not. I think that's why we're all on social media in the first place, because we want to find people who are like us, who are similar to us. So if you're going to be putting yourself out there, put out the true you. Don't try to be like Emma Chamberlain or Kelly Stamps. They're fantastic, but you're not gonna live up to that. So that's the final thing. Rant over, spiel over, thing over,